The great council hall was full of angry voices. 12 different alien species sat around the huge circular room, all talking at once. Their words echoed off the metal walls as they argued about what to do with the creature trapped in the center. Hyunwoo Kim sat quietly in the corner with the other humans. He was only 28 years old and worked as a helper for the human diplomats. Most of the time, nobody paid attention to him. That was fine with Hyunwoo. He liked to watch and listen. The creature in the energy cage was beautiful and terrible at the same time. It stood 3 meters tall, made of what looked like living crystal. Blue and green lights moved across its body in slow waves. Sometimes the lights turned red or purple. Hyunwoo had studied alien life forms in school, so he knew that many creatures used colors to talk. "This beast destroyed 3 of our mining stations," shouted Commander Vorthak. He was the leader of the Thessian Empire, a race of tall gray aliens with 4 arms. "Hundreds of our people died because of this monster." The other alien leaders nodded and made angry sounds. They had all seen the videos. The creature had torn through metal walls like paper. It had smashed buildings and left huge holes in the ground. The evidence was clear. "It must die," said another alien leader. "We cannot let such a dangerous thing live." Hyunwoo looked at Commander Taemin Park, who led the human military team. Taemin was 35 and had fought in many battles. He was a good man who always tried to be fair. Next to him sat Dr. Yoonji Lee, a woman who studied alien animals and plants. She was 31 and very smart about living things from other worlds. "What do you think?" Hyunwoo whispered to Dr. Lee. She shook her head. "Something feels wrong about this." "The videos show destruction, yes, but I want to know why it happened." The creature moved in its cage. The energy field buzzed and sparked around it. Hyunwoo watched the lights on its body change from blue to yellow to a soft purple. The pattern was strange. It reminded him of something, but he could not remember what. "Look at the way the lights move," he said quietly to Dr. Lee. "Do you see it?" She turned to watch the creature more carefully. The lights pulsed in groups. First 3 quick flashes, then 2 slow ones, then 5 medium ones. The pattern repeated over and over. "Mathematical," she whispered. "It's counting." Commander Vorthak was still talking. "We have spent too much time on this already. The beast killed our people. It destroyed our property. There is only one answer." The other aliens agreed. One by one, they voted for death. The creature would be killed in 3 days. Hyunwoo felt sick in his stomach. He looked at the creature again. Its lights had turned dark blue, the color that meant sadness in many crystal-based life forms. Did it understand what was happening? When the voting was over, Hyunwoo stood up. His voice was quiet, but everyone could hear him in the sudden silence. "I request permission to study the creature before the execution," he said. Commander Vorthak laughed. "You are from a young species. What could you possibly learn that we have not already discovered?" "Maybe nothing," Hyunwoo said. "But I would like to try." The alien leaders looked at each other. Some made dismissive gestures. Others seemed curious about what the human wanted to do. "You have 3 days," Vorthak finally said. "The same amount of time we gave the creature to live. Do not waste our time with foolish ideas about mercy." The meeting ended, and the aliens left to return to their ships. The humans stayed behind to talk. "Why did you do that?" Commander Park asked. "What do you think you can learn in 3 days?" Hyunwoo looked at the creature again. Its lights were still dark blue, but now there were small flashes of other colors mixed in. "Green for hope, maybe, or yellow for curiosity. I don't know," he said honestly, "but something is wrong here. Did you see how it moved when the voting started?" "It was listening. It understood," Dr. Lee nodded. "The mathematical patterns in its lights suggest intelligence. Real intelligence, not just animal instinct." "Even if it is intelligent," Commander Park said, "it still killed those people. Intelligence does not make murder acceptable." "No," Hyunwoo agreed, "but intelligence means there might be a reason. Animals kill for food or to protect territory. But intelligent beings, they might kill to protect something they love." The 3 humans looked at the creature. It had moved to the far side of its cage and was facing away from them. The lights on its back pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. 3 days, Dr. Lee said. "It's not much time." "It's enough to start," Hyunwoo replied. That night, Hyunwoo could not sleep. He kept thinking about the creature's lights and the way they had changed during the trial. He had studied many different alien species, but he had never seen anything quite like this one. In his small room on the space station, he pulled up files on crystal-based life forms. Most of them used light and color to communicate, but each species had its own language. Some used simple signals for basic needs like food and danger. Others had complex systems that could express emotions and ideas. The creatures' patterns were definitely complex. The mathematical sequences suggested a high level of intelligence. But there was something else. Something that made Hyunwoo feel sad when he watched the recordings of the trial. The creature had looked directly at him several times during the voting. Its lights had changed each time, becoming brighter and more active. Almost like it was trying to tell him something important. Hyunwoo made a decision. Tomorrow, he would go down to the containment level and try to talk to the creature. He did not know if it would understand him, but he had to try. The creature was going to die in 3 days unless someone could prove it was innocent. The evidence against it seemed overwhelming, but Hyunwoo had learned that evidence could be misleading. Sometimes the truth was hidden beneath what people expected to see. He closed his eyes and tried to sleep, but the image of those pulsing lights stayed with him. Somewhere in those patterns was a story waiting to be told. Hyunwoo just had to figure out how to listen. The next morning, Hyunwoo took the elevator down to the lowest level of the space station. The security guards looked at him strangely as he walked past their checkpoint. "You sure you want to go in there, human?" asked the guard. He was a Xanthari with blue skin and 3 eyes. "That thing is dangerous." "I have permission from the council," Hyunwoo said, showing his papers. The guard shrugged and let him pass. The hallway was long and dark with heavy doors on both sides. Most of the holding cells were empty. The station did not usually keep prisoners this dangerous. At the end of the hall was the largest cell. Energy fields hummed and crackled around a room the size of a small house. Inside, the creature sat in the center, its crystal body reflecting the harsh white lights from above. When Hyunwoo approached, the creature looked up. Its lights immediately changed from dull gray to bright yellow. Then the colors shifted quickly through orange, green, and blue before settling on a deep purple. Hyunwoo had never been this close to the creature before. It was even more beautiful than he had thought. Its body was made of thousands of small crystal pieces that moved and flowed like water. The lights came from inside, traveling through the crystal like electricity through wires. "Hello," Hyunwoo said softly. He sat down on the floor outside the energy field. "I'm here to listen if you want to talk." The creature tilted its head. The movement was surprisingly graceful for something so large. Its lights pulsed 3 times, then twice, then 5 times. The same pattern from yesterday. Hyunwoo took out a small tablet and started recording. He would need to study these patterns carefully to understand them. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Dr. Yoonji Lee appeared carrying 2 bags of equipment. "I thought you might need help," she said, "and I brought some things that might be useful." She set up a scanner that could measure the energy coming from the creature's lights. Another machine recorded sound waves in case the creature was making noises humans could not hear. "Look at this," Dr. Lee said, pointing at the scanner. "The light patterns have mathematical structure. Prime numbers, Fibonacci sequences, geometric progressions. This is definitely intelligent communication." The creature watched them work. Its lights grew brighter, cycling through more complex patterns. Sometimes it would repeat a sequence several times as if trying to make sure they understood. "It's trying to teach us," Hyunwoo realized. "Like a teacher showing the same lesson over and over." Dr. Lee nodded. "We need to show it that we're learning. Try copying one of its simple patterns." Hyunwoo took out a small flashlight. He flashed it 3 times, then twice, then 5 times. The same pattern the creature had been using. The creature's whole body lit up with bright gold light. It moved closer to the energy field, its lights dancing with what looked like excitement. "It understands," Dr. Lee said. "It knows we're trying to communicate." They worked for hours, copying patterns and creating new ones. The creature was patient, repeating sequences when the humans made mistakes. Gradually, they began to understand that different colors meant different things. Blue seemed to be sadness. Yellow was attention or interest. Green might be agreement. Red was clearly a warning or strong emotion. "Wait," Dr. Lee said suddenly. She was looking at a different scanner. "Look at these readings from its body." The screen showed the creature's internal structure. There were dark lines running through the crystal like cracks in glass. "It's injured," Hyunwoo said. "Those aren't natural formations." Dr. Lee adjusted the scanner settings. The image became clearer. The dark lines were definitely damage, probably from some kind of energy weapon. The creature had been hurt badly and recently. "This changes everything," she said. An injured animal acts differently than a healthy one. It might attack when it's really trying to ask for help. The creature had been watching their scanners. Now its lights turned to a mixture of colors they had not seen before. Deep blue mixed with flashes of orange and red. The pattern was urgent, almost desperate. "I think it's trying to tell us about the injuries," Hyunwoo said. Heavy footsteps came down the hallway. Commander Taemin Park appeared, looking serious and a little angry. "What are you two doing down here?" he asked. "The security team is worried. They say the creature has been acting strange all morning." "Strange how?" Dr. Lee asked. "More active. Brighter lights. They think it might be preparing to escape." Hyunwoo looked at the creature. Its lights had dimmed when Commander Park arrived, but they were still cycling through the communication patterns. "It's not trying to escape," Hyunwoo said. "It's trying to talk to us, look." He flashed his light in the 325 pattern. The creature immediately responded with the same sequence, then added new patterns that seemed to include the humans in the conversation. Commander Park stared. "It's actually communicating?" "More than that," Dr. Lee said. "It's injured. Look at these scans. Someone hurt this creature badly before it attacked those mining stations." She showed him the scanner readings. Commander Park had fought in enough battles to recognize weapon damage when he saw it. "Those are blast patterns," he said. "From mining lasers, most likely. But why would miners shoot at a creature that was just passing by?" "Maybe it wasn't just passing by," Hyunwoo said. "Maybe it was looking for something. Or someone." The creature's light suddenly turned bright white. It moved to the front of its cage and pressed against the energy field. The patterns coming from its body were faster now, more urgent. "What's it saying?" Commander Park asked. "I don't know," Hyunwoo admitted. "But I think it's trying to tell us something important. Something about what really happened at those mining stations." Dr. Lee checked her equipment. "I'm picking up new frequencies in its communication. It's getting more complex, like it's learning to talk to us better." The creature repeated a sequence of colors over and over. Red, blue, with small flashes of other colors in between. The pattern was different from anything they had seen before. "Pain," Dr. Lee said suddenly. "I think red and blue together means pain. Physical and emotional pain mixed together. The kind of pain someone feels when they lose something important," Hyunwoo added. They looked at the creature with new understanding. This was not a mindless monster that had attacked mining stations for no reason. This was an intelligent being that had been hurt, both in its body and in its heart. "We need more time," Hyunwoo said. "There's a story here, and we're just starting to understand it." Commander Park nodded slowly. "I'll talk to the council. Maybe I can get you another day or two. Make it sound like we're studying its weaknesses," Dr. Lee suggested. "Tell them we're learning how to fight creatures like this in the future." As they prepared to leave, the creature moved close to the energy field again. Its lights were soft now, mostly green and yellow. Peaceful colors. Hyunwoo put his hand near the field, as close as he could get without touching it. The creature did the same, pressing its crystal appendage against the barrier from the other side. For a moment, human and alien stood facing each other with only energy between them. The creature's lights pulsed gently, and Hyunwoo felt something he had never expected to feel toward a supposed monster. He felt sorry for it. Whatever had happened at those mining stations, this creature was not evil. It was hurt and alone and trying to communicate something important. In 2 days, the council would kill it unless someone could prove its innocence. Hyunwoo was determined to find the truth. Dr. Yoonji Lee worked through the night in her laboratory. The samples she had taken from the creature's energy field told an amazing story. Under her microscope, she could see tiny pieces of crystal that had broken off from the creature's body. Each piece contained information about what had happened to it. "This is incredible," she said to herself as she studied the data. The crystal fragments showed damage from industrial equipment, not weapons designed for fighting. Mining lasers, drilling machines, and explosive charges had all left their marks. But there was something else. Mixed in with the creature's crystal pieces were fragments from other sources. Smaller crystals that seemed to be from the same species but different individuals. Family members, perhaps. Hyunwoo arrived at the laboratory early in the morning. He had spent hours studying the communication patterns they had recorded, and he was beginning to understand the creature's language. "I think I know what it was trying to tell us," he said, showing Dr. Lee his notes. "The red and blue pattern doesn't just mean pain. It means loss. The loss of someone important." Dr. Lee showed him her discoveries. "Look at this. The creature wasn't alone when it was injured. There were others with it. Other members of its species, they looked at each other as the implications sank in. A family, Hyunwoo said. It was traveling with its family when the mining equipment hurt them. And now they're separated, Dr. Lee added. That's why it was at those mining stations. It wasn't attacking them, it was looking for its family. Commander Park arrived with coffee and bad news. The council won't give us more time. They want this finished today. Some of the alien representatives are talking about leaving if we keep delaying. Then we need to show them what we've learned, Dr. Lee said. She pulled up the analysis results on her computer. The creature is not a monster. It's a parent looking for its children. They spent the morning preparing their evidence. The crystal analysis proved the creature had been injured by mining equipment. The communication pattern showed high intelligence and emotional depth. The energy readings suggested the creature could sense others of its kind across great distances. If we're right, Hyunwoo said, then its family is still out there somewhere, probably trapped in the collapsed mining tunnels. We need to check those sites, Commander Park said, but the council will never approve an expedition based on our theories. Then we don't ask for approval, Hyunwoo replied. They looked at him in surprise. The creature is going to die in a few hours, he continued. If we're right, we're letting the council execute an innocent being whose only crime was trying to save its family. I can't live with that, Dr. Lee nodded. The mining sites are in abandoned space. No one will know we were there. Commander Park was quiet for a long time. As a military officer, he was supposed to follow orders. But as a human being, he had a duty to protect the innocent. I can get us a ship, he said finally. A small exploration vessel that won't be missed for a few hours. But if we're wrong about this, we're not wrong, Hyunwoo said. I've been talking to the creature for 2 days. I know it's telling the truth. They gathered their equipment and headed for the docking bay. Behind them, in its cell, the creature sat alone. Its lights had grown dim and sad. It seemed to know that time was running out. The flight to the first mining site took 2 hours. The place had been abandoned after the creature's attack, and it looked like a war zone. Broken machinery lay scattered across the asteroid's surface. Buildings had been torn apart, their metal walls twisted like paper. Look at the damage pattern, Dr. Lee said as they walked through the ruins. It's not random destruction. The creature was searching for something. She was right. The holes in the buildings were precise, as if the creature had been looking inside each structure. The underground tunnels had been opened carefully, not smashed. Here, Hyunwoo called from near a collapsed tunnel entrance. I'm getting energy readings from down there. They used their equipment to scan below the surface. Deep in the tunnel system, something was moving. Something that gave off the same type of energy as the creature in the prison cell. Life signs, Dr. Lee whispered. Multiple life signs. They're weak, but they're alive. The tunnel was too dangerous to enter without proper equipment, but they had enough data to prove their theory. The creature's family was trapped down there, probably injured and unable to escape. How long have they been stuck? Commander Park asked. Months based on these readings, Dr. Lee said. They're barely alive. Probably keeping each other warm and sharing energy to survive. They checked the other 2 mining sites and found similar evidence. At each location, the creature had searched desperately for its family members. When it couldn't find them, it had called out with bright light signals that could be seen from space. The miners probably thought it was attacking. Hyunwoo realized. They shot at it to drive it away. That's when it really did start destroying things. It was trying to protect itself and get to its family. On the way back to the station, they developed a plan. They had enough evidence to prove the creature's innocence, but they needed to present it in a way the council would accept. Some of the alien species were proud and did not like to admit they had made mistakes. We focus on the facts, Commander Park said. The creature is intelligent, it was injured first, and its family is still alive and trapped. We ask for a rescue mission instead of an execution. Will they listen? Dr. Lee asked. They have to, Hyunwoo replied, because if they don't, they'll be committing murder. They arrived at the station just as the final preparations for the execution were beginning. The council chamber was packed with representatives from dozens of species, all eager to see justice done. The creature had been brought up from its cell and placed in a smaller energy cage at the center of the room. It looked tired and sad, its lights dim and slow. When it saw Hyunwoo, its lights brightened slightly. You have 5 minutes to present your findings, Commander Vorthak announced. Then we proceed with the execution. Hyunwoo stepped forward. In his hands was all the evidence they had gathered. the proof that would either save an innocent life or condemn 3 humans for defying the Council's will. "Honored representatives," he began, "we have discovered something that changes everything we thought we knew about this case." The creature's lights began to pulse faster. It seemed to sense that something important was happening. Around the chamber, alien representatives leaned forward to listen. This was their only chance to tell the truth. Hyunwoo took a deep breath and began to speak. "This creature is not a monster," he said. "It's a parent, and its children are still alive." The council chamber erupted in angry voices. Some aliens shouted that the humans were lying. Others demanded to see proof. Commander Vorthak slammed his 4 fists on the table to restore order. "You have made a serious accusation," he said to Hyunwoo. "Are you saying that the council made an error in judgment?" "I'm saying that we didn't have all the facts," Hyunwoo replied carefully. The creature was looking for its family, not trying to destroy property. Dr. Lee stepped forward with her scanner readings. "The evidence is clear. There are other members of this species trapped in the collapsed mining tunnels. They've been there for months, barely surviving." She displayed the energy signatures on the chamber's main screen. Even the alien representatives who couldn't read human technology could see that something was alive in those underground spaces. "This proves nothing," said another council member. "Perhaps the creature was protecting accomplices in its criminal activities." The creature in the cage suddenly became very active. Its lights flashed in the patterns Hyunwoo had learned to recognize. It was trying to communicate, becoming more urgent as it sensed the skepticism in the room. "It's trying to tell you something," Hyunwoo said to the council. "If you'll give me a few minutes, I can translate." "We do not have time for this nonsense," Commander Vorthak declared. "The execution will proceed as scheduled." "Wait," said a new voice. Elder Korvash of the peaceful Altarian species stood up. She was old and respected, and when she spoke, others listened. "Let the human try. If he can truly communicate with this being, we should hear what it has to say." Hyunwoo approached the creature's cage. The being pressed against the energy field, its lights cycling through urgent patterns. Hyunwoo had his tablet ready to record and translate. The creature began with simple concepts that Hyunwoo had learned: family, love, loss. Then it moved to more complex ideas. It showed the location of the mining sites through mathematical coordinates. It described the collapse of the tunnels, the separation from its loved ones, the desperate search that had led to misunderstanding and violence. "It says its name is..." Hyunwoo paused, trying to find words for concepts that had no human equivalent. Something like light who seeks light. Its family consists of a mate and 2 offspring. They were traveling through this system when the mining operations began. The creature continued its story through pulses of color and light. Its species was peaceful, curious about other forms of life. They had approached the mining stations hoping to learn about the technology and maybe trade knowledge. Instead, they had been driven away with weapons fire. "They tried to leave," Hyunwoo translated, "but the tunneling operations caused a collapse. The family was separated. Light who seeks light was thrown clear, but the others were trapped underground." "Even if this story is true," Commander Vorthak said, "the creature still caused massive damage to our facilities." "Because you were shooting at it while it tried to rescue its family," Dr. Lee replied angrily. "What would you do if your children were trapped and people kept attacking you when you tried to save them?" The creature's lights dimmed to a soft blue. It was exhausted from the effort of communication, but it had one more thing to show them. The patterns it created now were beautiful and sad, like a song of mourning. "It's calling to them," Hyunwoo whispered. "It's been calling to its family this whole time, hoping they'll answer." Suddenly, alarms began ringing throughout the station. The main screen switched to show external sensors. In the distance, lights were flashing in space. Dozens of them, moving in organized patterns. "We're being surrounded," reported the station commander. "Unknown vessels approaching from all directions." But Hyunwoo recognized the light patterns. They were the same mathematical sequences the creature had been using to communicate. "Those aren't ships," he said. "Those are more of light who seeks light's people. They heard its calls and they're coming to help." The situation was spiraling out of control. Commander Park activated his communicator to contact the human military vessels in the area. Dr. Lee was frantically analyzing the new energy readings. The alien council members were shouting orders and accusations. In the middle of the chaos, Hyunwoo made a decision that would change everything. "We have to go rescue the trapped family," he said to his companions. Right now, before this turns into a war. Are you insane? Commander Park replied. We can't leave the station now. We have to, Hyunwoo insisted. Don't you see? All those beings out there are here because they know one of their own is in trouble. If Light Who Seeks Light dies, they'll think we murdered it. But if we can reunite it with its family, Dr. Lee understood immediately. They'll see that we're trying to help, not hurt their people. Commander Park looked at the chaos around them. The council was in complete disorder. Some species were calling for immediate execution of the creature. Others wanted to attack the approaching aliens. Nobody was listening to reason. How do we even get the creature out of here? He asked. Emergency evacuation protocols, Dr. Lee said. If there's a threat to the station, prisoners can be transferred to secure vessels. The approaching aliens could be seen as a threat, Hyunwoo added. It was risky and probably illegal, but it was their only chance to prevent a disaster. Commander Park used his military authorization to declare an emergency evacuation. In the confusion, security teams began moving prisoners to transport ships. The creature seemed to understand what was happening. Its lights grew brighter as it was moved from the chamber to a secure transport vessel. Hyunwoo, Dr. Lee, and Commander Park were assigned as the research team responsible for monitoring it during transport. As their ship left the station, the creature became even more active. It was creating light patterns that could be seen through the viewports, apparently communicating with the other beings surrounding the station. It's telling them what we're doing, Hyunwoo realized. It's explaining that we're going to help. The flight to the mining sites was tense. At any moment, the station authorities might realize what had happened and order them to return. But the creature's people seemed to understand their mission. Several of the alien beings followed at a distance, their lights pulsing in what looked like encouragement. When they reached the first collapsed mining site, the creature became almost frantic with excitement. Its calls echoed through the ship's hull, transmitted as light patterns that could be seen across space. And then, from deep underground, came an answer. Faint lights flickered in the ruins below. The trapped family was alive, and they had heard the rescue call. There, Dr. Lee pointed to her scanner readings. 3 life signs, very weak but stable. They're about 50 meters down in a partially collapsed chamber. The rescue operation was dangerous. The tunnels were unstable, and any mistake could cause further collapse. But Commander Park had military engineering experience, and Dr. Lee's scientific equipment could map the safest route. Working together, the 3 humans carefully excavated a path to the trapped aliens. The creature on their ship provided guidance, its light patterns indicating where to dig and where to be careful. Hours passed. The work was slow and exhausting. Several times, small cave-ins threatened to block their progress, but gradually they got closer to the trapped family. Finally, Dr. Lee's scanner showed they were only a few meters away from the survivors. I can hear them, Hyunwoo said. Through the ship's communication system, faint light patterns were visible in the tunnel. The trapped family was calling back to their rescuer. When they broke through the final barrier, what they found broke their hearts. 2 smaller beings, clearly offspring, were curled around a larger adult. All 3 were covered in dust and debris, their lights very dim. The adult had used its own energy to keep the young ones alive, slowly dying to save them. Careful, Dr. Lee warned as they brought the family to the surface. They're severely weakened. Any shock could kill them. But when the rescued family saw their loved one in the transport ship, something beautiful happened. All 4 beings began to glow with brilliant light, their colors shifting and dancing in patterns of pure joy. They had been reunited. The family was whole again. As they prepared to return to the station, Hyunwoo looked out at the alien beings still surrounding the area. Their light patterns had changed too, from aggressive postures to what looked like celebration. We did it, Dr. Lee said quietly. We saved them. Now we just have to convince the council not to execute us for it, Commander Park replied. But Hyunwoo wasn't worried about that anymore. They had proven that the creature was innocent. More importantly, they had shown that humans could choose compassion over fear, understanding over prejudice. The real test would come when they returned to face the consequences of their actions. The return to the space station was unlike anything the 3 humans had ever experienced. As their ship approached the docking bay, they could see the rescued family through the transport window. The adult and 2 offspring were pressed close together, their crystal bodies glowing with soft, warm light. The reunion had healed something in all of them, but the fourth being, Light Who Seeks Light, was the most changed. Where before its lights had been dim and sad, now they blazed with joy and relief. The mathematical patterns flowing across its body were complex songs of happiness. "Look at that," Dr. Lee said, pointing to her scanner. "Its energy levels have doubled since the rescue." Being separated from family was literally killing it. The docking bay was full of security guards and officials. Commander Vorthak was there, along with several other council members. They did not look happy. "You have committed an act of treason against the Galactic Council," Vorthak announced as the humans exited their ship. "You stole a condemned prisoner and interfered with official justice." "We rescued an innocent family," Yenwu replied calmly. "And we can prove it." The rescued beings were carefully moved to a medical facility. Even the alien doctors could see that they had been trapped and injured for months. The evidence was overwhelming. "This changes nothing," insisted another council member. Regardless of motivation, the creature destroyed valuable property and caused deaths. It must still face justice. Justice for what? Dr. Lee asked angrily. "For trying to save its children? For being shot at when it approached your mining stations peacefully? What crime did it actually commit?" Elder Korvash spoke up from her seat. "Perhaps we should hear the full story before making final judgments." The council chamber was packed again, but the atmosphere was different this time. Word had spread throughout the station about the rescue mission. Many species that had never seen cooperation between humans and unknown aliens were curious about what had really happened. The 4 rescued beings were brought into the chamber in a special medical containment unit that allowed them to be together while keeping them safe. Their lights were brighter now, pulsing in synchronized patterns that filled the room with beautiful colors. Hyunwoo stood at the center of the chamber with his translation equipment. "Light Who Seeks Light wants to tell you what really happened," he announced. "Will you listen?" The creature began its story again, but this time it was joined by its family. The patterns of light that flowed between them created a complex narrative that was both heartbreaking and beautiful. Hyunwoo translated as best he could. "They are explorers, not conquerors. Their species travels between stars to learn about other forms of life. They had never encountered mining operations before and were curious about the technology." The lights shifted to different colors as the story continued. When they approached the first station, workers began shooting at them. They didn't understand why. They tried to signal that they were peaceful, but the attacks continued. The adult being's lights dimmed as it remembered the pain. The mining explosions caused tunnel collapses. The family was separated. Light Who Seeks Light was thrown clear but badly injured. Its mate and children were trapped underground. For months it searched for them. Every time it tried to dig through the collapsed tunnels, miners drove it away with weapons. In desperation, it began tearing apart the machinery that was blocking access to its family. The story was clear now. What the council had seen as unprovoked attacks were actually the desperate actions of a parent trying to save its children. The deaths that occurred, Hyunwoo continued translating, happened when miners tried to stop the rescue efforts. Light Who Seeks Light never intended to hurt anyone. It was just trying to reach its family. The chamber was quiet as the implications sank in. The creature they had condemned to death was not a monster. It was a victim. Commander Vorthak stood up slowly. As the leader of the mining operations, he was directly responsible for what had happened. "Even if this story is true," he said, "the creature still caused massive financial losses. Property was destroyed. Our operations were disrupted. Your operations trapped an innocent family," Dr. Lee replied. "And when their parent tried to rescue them, you shot at it. What did you expect would happen?" Elder Korvash raised her hand for silence. "The question before us now is not who to blame for past actions. The question is how we move forward." She looked around the chamber at all the different alien species. "This incident has shown us something important. When we encounter unknown life forms, our first response should not be to attack. It should be to try to understand." The rescued family's lights were pulsing in slow, peaceful patterns. The young ones stayed close to their parents, occasionally flashing bright colors that looked like laughter or play. "I propose," Elder Korvash continued, "that instead of executing these beings, we establish a new protocol for first contact situations. We create a system for peaceful communication before any other action is taken." Many council members nodded in agreement. The evidence was too strong to ignore, and the sight of the reunited family made it impossible to see them as monsters. but some species were still resistant. This sets a dangerous precedent, argued one representative. If we excuse property damage every time an alien claims to have good reasons, then we judge each case based on facts, not fear, Hyunwoo interrupted. We take time to understand before we condemn. The debate continued for hours. Some council members wanted to maintain the death sentence as a matter of principle. Others called for complete exoneration. A few suggested compromise solutions like exile or compensation payments. Finally, Elder Korvash called for a vote. The chamber fell silent as each species cast their decision. The result was closer than Hyunwoo had hoped, but clear enough. The creatures would be pardoned. More importantly, the council voted to establish new protocols for dealing with unknown alien species, based on communication and understanding rather than immediate force. As the session ended, something unexpected happened. The rescued beings began creating light patterns unlike anything they had shown before. The colors were brilliant and joyful, reaching out to touch every corner of the chamber. "What are they doing?" asked Commander Vorthak. "They're saying thank you," Hyunwoo translated. "Not just to us, to all of you. They're grateful that the council chose mercy over vengeance." The light show continued for several minutes, with the four beings working together to create patterns of incredible beauty. Even the most skeptical council members seemed moved by the display. Later, as the council session officially ended, Hyunwoo found himself alone with the alien family in their medical facility. The beings approached the energy barrier that separated them, their lights soft and warm. Light Who Seeks Light created a pattern that Hyunwoo had learned to recognize as a personal name or identifier. But this time it was pointing the pattern at him. "It's giving me a name," he realized. "In its language, I'm now called Voice That Bridges the Darkness." Dr. Lee laughed. "That's beautiful. You helped them communicate." Across the darkness of misunderstanding, the other family members created their own name patterns. For the two other humans, Dr. Lee became Mind That Sees Truth, and Commander Park was Strength That Protects the Innocent. 6 months later, Hyunwoo worked at the first joint research station ever established between humans and the species they had learned to call the Vex-Hi. The crystalline beings had amazing abilities that humans had never imagined. They could communicate across vast distances using light, share energy with each other to survive in harsh conditions, and store information in their crystal bodies like living computers. The particular family he had saved had become ambassadors for their people. The young ones, who had grown larger and brighter since their rescue, often played around the research station. Their light patterns had become more complex as they learned, and they seemed to enjoy trying to teach human children their color language. Light Who Seeks Light had become a close friend. Through months of patient communication, it had taught Hyunwoo much about its people's culture and philosophy. The Vex-Hi believed that all intelligent life was connected by invisible threads of understanding, and that the universe was made better when different species learned to see through each other's eyes. "You changed everything," Dr. Lee said one day as they watched the young Vex-Hi playing with human children in the station's recreation area. "If you hadn't asked for those 3 days to study the creature, it would have died, and we would never have learned the truth." "We all changed everything," Hyunwoo corrected. "You found the scientific evidence. Commander Park provided the courage to act. The council chose to listen instead of just judging. But you were the one who saw intelligence, where others saw only a monster," she insisted. Hyunwoo watched the mixed group of human and alien children creating light patterns together. Some of the human kids were using handheld lights to copy the Vex-Hi communication style, while the young aliens were learning to make sounds that approximated human words. "I think that's what humans do," he said. "We look for the person inside the monster. We try to understand before we judge, and when everyone else gives up on someone, we keep trying to find a reason to hope." The galaxy had learned an important lesson from the incident at the mining stations.